Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Teresa Cantley. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome to this week's Amuse-Bouche. Thank you so much for joining me here for another episode. And today, these little bites that will help you to become a better leader, to lead your team, to lead yourself in a much better way, a much more connected way, and to really take that then out into the world and make a big impact. So this week, I wanted to talk about something that has been a topic that's been out there in the world for so long. You can't get around not hearing about it. And it's really all about AI and technology. So I wanted to talk about this today because there's been such a huge impact with this in the world and the rate of change that we've been going through. And I think, and if you've ever heard me talk, I do have a signature talk called The Spirit of Phygiality. We're going to talk about it today. And I'm going to give you really the framework that I teach my my high-level clients as far as how to really build the spirit of Phygiality into their business, because it's not just about technology. It's about what we do with it. And I think now what I am seeing, especially in bigger companies, you have people who make decisions. You have these higher up leaders who make decisions based on what they want the stock to do, based on revenue, based on top line, sometimes based on bottom line. And they don't really see the substance within the business, the people who are making a difference, the people who are putting in the work, who are putting in the effort, who are actually doing the things that are helping the company to grow. So they make these decisions, I don't know, in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of in a vacuum as far as cuts that they're going to make. You can't get around not reading a news article about how companies are making cuts because they're putting AI in and they're replacing human beings in their business. Or companies are just making cuts because they're cutting expenses. So what do? They basically cut people who are the substance that fill the business with energy, with heart, with imagination, with innovation, instead of, looking at the big picture. And I think, and I've seen it a lot, and I feel like leaders that are making these decisions on high and don't really have a good, they don't know the people that they're impacting, that they're cutting, and the people that they're and the impact that they're going to make on these people's lives. And honestly, I feel like many of them don't even care. So that's just my opinion. But all in the name of having this be the year, and I've seen it, the year of efficiency. Everybody's trying to be efficient. And in everybody's goal of trying to be efficient, what they're doing, again, is they're cutting out the substance. They're cutting out the energy within inside a business. And then what does that end up doing? It ends up creating a lot of fear, right? It ends up creating a lot of fear out in the world. You hear about, again, you hear about layoffs and you hear about jobs being replaced, and it just creates this big fear. So then what we have is we have people who don't want to use technology at all. We have business owners who are like, no, I don't want AI. I don't want any parts of it. I don't. So what happens with that is that they end up falling behind. They end up, instead of utilizing some technology that can help them to do their jobs better or to get better intel on stuff, they go in the other direction, and then they end up falling behind in some manner. So we kind of have both going on. And that's why I over the years have developed this philosophy, this leadership philosophy, as I call it, um, called the spirit of Phygiality. And I think, long ago, Steve Jobs, he said it. There's this quote that I read from him a long time ago, which is, technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, that they're basically good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. Nowhere in that quote does it say that we're going to replace the the thing that actually gives this business life. Nowhere in there does it say that. But for some reason, leaders in businesses and leaders in the world seem to think that's what we're supposed to do with this, right? So, in a time, if we look at it, in a time when trust is at an all time low and connection is at an all time low, we need to bring that back into our businesses. And I do have a core belief and a core philosophy that small business is the backbone of the economy. They have the ability to really make change, positive change happen in our society, happen in our world, because they can shift what happens inside of their business, which creates the impact outside of their business. So, again, leaders, this is going to be a cautionary tale of, if you're a leader and you're listening to this, things that I believe we need to do differently to make sure that we preserve that positive energy and that um, positive energy, and that the vibe that comes from within our businesses, from the people that dedicate their time, their lives, their energy to building something that is beyond them, building something that matters. So I think, as leaders, one of our core responsibilities is to really figure out what that energy and what that greatness is within the individual people in our business, and really utilize that and align it with what the business is trying to accomplish. But again, in bigger businesses, and if you are a leader in a larger business and you're listening to this, I hope you seriously pay attention. Because I think I see, not I think, I see it, leaders that are up here making decisions, and not just making decisions solely on satisfying the bottom line, satisfying stock price, satisfying something other than looking at the human beings that have put time, energy, effort, heart into what they do to get the business to move forward, to get the innovations to be discovered, to get solutions to be discovered, to keep things moving forward. So the spirit of Phygiality, in my mind, is what can help us to do this. Because, as I said, Steve Jobs said it best, that people are smart. Technology is nothing without people. And people can use technology to enhance their skills, to do things better, to dig deeper into stuff and find solutions faster, so that we can make this world better, right? Because that's ultimately what we all want to do. And if you don't, well, then you shouldn't be on this episode. So you shouldn't be listening to this. So just shut it off. But since you're on here, we're going to continue. So the spirit of Phygiality, again, as I said, it is something that can enhance human connection and really get the energy flowing in our business if you follow the steps that I'm going to give you. So if we go back to people's unique greatness, so, we're born, and from 0 to 5, we are born with a unique greatness, and we really can step into that unique greatness. But after the age of 5, and there was a study that someone did to really illustrate this, but after the age of 5, then we get into education, we get into socialization, we get into where we can understand and have communication with people and conversations and interact and whatever. So what happens is our greatness gets educated, labeled, and trained out of us. And that external stuff ends up becoming and shaping our identity. So, what we need to do as leaders is really bring that greatness out of people again and help them to step into that. And that greatness really is what are they uniquely gifted at? Not just looking at spreadsheets and whatever, but it might be their ability to see detail. It might be their ability to analyze. It might be their ability to be creative or visualize something and bring it to life on a piece of paper. Who knows what it is? But it's our job as leaders to figure out exactly what that is and then help individuals to bring that out. All right. Because when people are functioning in their greatness, they just naturally feel more fulfilled. Right. So instead of looking at people, because I believe people are not a commodity, I also believe technology isn't a commodity either. And when we look at this, we are seeing people as people. We are seeing people as the individuals that they are. And we're also able to then, they are the substance, they are the energy, they are the heart. We can use the structure of technology, the structure that technology brings to enhance the energy that a person brings. And when the two come together in synergy, amazing things can happen. Because here, I want you to think of this. And like I said, in the year of efficiency, where everybody is trying to be more efficient, do things faster, and we're just constantly like running this freaking race to the top of who can be better, who can be more efficient, who can, whatever, stand out faster, trust has declined. Connection, interaction, authenticity. I mean, you look at something, there's a new piece of software out there, and it's an AI piece of software, and I look at it and they're explaining how it's used. You can't tell whether or not someone is human or it's an AI generated thing. So I think used in the right way, it could be beneficial. But again, in this race to be more efficient and to cut everything just for the sole goal of trying to please shareholders, um, we've lost trust, we've lost connection. And I think many businesses have really lost connection to an understanding of what their true purpose is beyond the product or service that they sell. And we need to get back to that. We need to get back to that. And we need to get back to building that substance back into our business, because people are what is going to change and make this world better. People with the use of the technology that we have access to. So if we think about it, if we think about AI and we think about technology, like what it can't do and what it doesn't have. So number one, and I touched on this, is that it doesn't have a human heart. It can't feel like a human heart. It can't, when you look at someone and you sense their presence, you sense their energy, like technology can't do that, right? AI can't do that, but a human being can. A human being can have that connection with another human being and actually feel sad or feel happy with them or feel empathy. AI does not have empathy. It doesn't have those emotions. It doesn't have those feelings. And that empathy is what can help us make better decisions. not decisions that are just based on data. People don't connect with data, they connect with human hearts. And I think a lot of also, a lot of companies that I've seen out there, they throw all this word salad of, super long words strung together, thinking that this is going to be cool to like put this out there and talk about it. But really, there's nothing behind it because they don't really truly understand what it means. Right. So, human heart, human emotions, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have imagination. The AI and technology, it doesn't have the ability to have an imagination, to see beyond what is physically in front of you, to see beyond what is logically in front of you, to have that imagination and think, use that part of our brain. Like I read one time that we only use 7% of our brain, and there's this whole other piece of it that is magic, and we just need to unlock it. And that's not something technology does does by itself. That's something that a human being can only do. We use technology to enhance it and try and bring out that imagination, but technology doesn't have imagination on its own, but a human being does. A human being can see something that doesn't exist yet. A human being can see something that's not in front of you yet, whereas technology cannot. I don't care what anybody says, it can't. Number 3, identity. It has an identity only as to what has been fed to it. It doesn't have identity based on who it knows it is from within, because it doesn't have a human heart. It doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have that imagination. So how could it have an identity of not, I am a manager, or I am a I am a manager, or I am a digital expert. It doesn't have the identity of, I am an empathetic individual, or I am strong, I am bold, I am a heart-centered leader. Like, whatever it is, it doesn't have that identity. It also doesn't have the memories from the past of interactions with people. It remembers data that has been fed into it, but it doesn't have the memory of the stories, the experience, the ability to craft a story based on a live experience. Just like, I have a story that I talk about. It's actually pretty funny, of snorkeling and how I'm petrified of the ocean. And as I tell that story, I have that memory that comes back from me actually experiencing the temperature of the water and the way the boat felt, and the way that the boat, when I put my feet on the boat and I was frozen to it, the way that it felt when I jumped in, and that fear that came over me. Like, technology doesn't have any of that, but a human being does. And we can actually then use technology to take that story, to take those feelings, to take those emotions, to turn it into something that we can use to connect with others. It also doesn't have the senses that we have. What did it smell like? What did it sound like? What did it look like? What did it like? And we use all of our different senses and our sixth sense to see something beyond what is physically in front of us, to have faith. The technology and AI doesn't have that faith, that I don't know what this outcome is going to be, but I have this idea, I have this imagination, and I'm going to lean into it and have faith. Technology doesn't have that. Technology, it doesn't matter. Like, it's taking stuff that we plug into it and it's spitting something out, right? So human beings have a human heart and can connect to other human hearts. It has imagination. We have that identity to know who we are from the inside, not based on labels, not based on what we've been told we should be, but based on who we know inside. doesn't have memory. It doesn't have the experience with all of those senses. However, technology does give us the ability to enhance all of those things, to have that human heart where we have empathy for another person, to have empathy, to be an empathetic leader that can be a good listener. And we can use technology to enhance that human connection by following three things. I call it bridging the gap between being human and building something that matters. So the first thing is build a bridge. I just said it. So build a bridge. And again, technology is what bridges that gap between being human and we want to build something. And technology is the bridge that we can use to enhance what we're doing, to enhance what we're building, to bring out that imagination, that creativity in others. So the first thing, this build a bridge. It enables us to help people to have autonomy in their role, to fill that execution gap. How do we do that? Well, we can use that technology. So if we need to, if someone in their role, if they have this unique ability to write, technology can help them to brainstorm different ideas of things that they want to write about based on the person that they're writing for, based on the subject matter that they're writing for. They can brainstorm different ideas, get those ideas based on what people are searching by in search engines, and then use that to write whatever it is, to use that unique genius that they have of writing to then write something that's impactful, to write something that connects, and they feel that autonomy. The other thing that enables us to do is, let's say we have a problem. Let's say a leader in a business can't figure out quite how to solve a particular problem in their restaurant or in their retail store. They can use technology to say, here's my situation and I'm not really seeing where the gaps are. Can you help me find those gaps? So it helps us to build more autonomy into a specific position. It helps to, again, fill that execution gap. We have this strategy, we have this vision that we want to accomplish, but we're not quite sure how to break it down into chunks. We can use Copilot. We can use Copilot to say, help me, here's my vision, here's what the strategy is, but I'm not quite sure how to build this into a project. Do you have can you help me build this into a project? To come up with something. But then guess what? We need a human mind to interpret it and say, yes, this makes sense. No, this doesn't make sense because of how, because we know what our team that would be working on this part of the project, what they care about, and this isn't going to fit, but I know we can modify it and use it and build the project out in this other way that aligns with what the team's core values are. So we can function with both of those things together. The second thing is empowering through knowledge. It helps us to get higher level of skill mastery in our people. How? Again, using it to do research, using it to learn something faster so that they can then use their creativity, to use their imagination with what they just learned so that they can execute and do their job even better. So maybe learn a new task. I mean, I have a client that has a restaurant, and using technology to learn a specific type of knife skill on how to carve vegetables in a specific way so that they can, I mean, a better example, they were using it to carve vegetables into different shapes and stuff. But the one thing that he was doing is he used it to figure out how to break down potatoes so that they could make, it was almost like a gluten-free sourdough bread. So it was And it tasted like sourdough, but again, it was gluten-free. It was made with potatoes. But he used that technology because he wasn't quite sure how to break it down himself. So it was the combination of the imagination, the human mind, and the imagination of being able to see something that wasn't in front of you or wasn't thought of quite yet, but using it to say, how can I break down potatoes to make bread so that I can serve more people? So that I can serve people who have a specific issue and they can enjoy a meal. Technology can't do that by itself. And technology enabled the person to be able to find that solution faster. And the last one is to carve a new path. To carve a new path in your industry. So many different industries, they just say, okay, I need to use AI or I need to use this piece of technology. And they end up spending tons and tons of money and they don't necessarily know how to use it. Or they chat GPT the crap out of something and end up sounding like a robot. It doesn't sound like a human being. And this past weekend, I went to a workshop, a speaking workshop. And one of the things that she said was that being on stage, yes, it's about connecting with your audience. But the bigger thing is, it's about sharing your heart and sharing our heart through stories. And the way that I ended up being able to put my moment in time into a story was I used a piece of software. It's called My Story Pro AI. Check it out. But to take a moment in time and craft it into a story that was my voice so that I could go on stage and have a framework for my talk, but deliver it from me, deliver it from my heart to someone else's heart. Technology can't do that, but we can use technology to enhance that connection. We can use it I've built out the spirit of Phygiality into businesses where we've taught people who didn't speak English to speak English and not just speak it, but be able to master skills and to learn things a lot faster so that we could get them closer to their dream a lot faster, to understand really what their dream was and help them to achieve it faster than they even thought it was possible. So, the spirit of Phygiality, what truly is it? It's helping people to think differently. It's calling out where we've led without intention for all of these years and really calling up who we have always been meant to be, who our people have always been meant to be. And I like to say it's the bridge, like I said, it's the bridge between being human and building something that matters. It's also the bridge between structure and soul. And when you are sitting up here in leadership and you are letting go of people in your company that you've never even seen their face, you're missing that you have a huge gap between structure and soul that needs to be filled, that truly, truly needs to be filled. Because moving forward, as leaders, we need to lead with soul. We need to keep that energy and that substance in our business so that we can continue to use and connect with hearts and minds, imaginations, creativity of the people inside of our business, but also all of this with people outside of our business. So, as I wrap this up, I want to tell you, don't follow the herd. Don't be one of those people that says, my industry is using technology and AI and I need to use it, so I'm just going to use it. Really understand how you're going to use it. Understand your people first. Understand your people, understand your purpose, understand your business first, and then understand how you need to use it and what you need to use it for. Because remember, the intention is to enhance what someone's doing, to enhance the human experience, not replace it, because it is not replaceable. It is not replaceable. And consider this. I want you to consider this a cautionary tale, a cautionary amuse-bouche for today. Our world and society and the economy is changing at such a rapid rate. And I'm telling you, as a leader, you need to understand your people and your purpose fully first so that you can understand how to utilize all of these things that are being thrown our way very, very rapidly. And not for profit, but for purpose. Because when purpose leads, when energy leads, when heart leads, when faith leads, the profit comes, the revenue comes, everything comes from it. So I'm here to tell you, and when we do that, we can find cures faster. We can bridge the divide that we have in this country, in this world. We can innovate failing industries and create like a whole new world. I always tell people that say, well, the restaurant industry has always been like this. I'm like, I don't give a crap about the restaurant industry. I give a crap about what makes you unique. What can you do differently? You know, we can repair cultures. We can find different food sources, better food sources, and we can bring more joy and fulfillment inside of your business so that you can make a difference outside of your business. So, what can you do differently? Before I close, I want to ask you, what action can you take to really look at the people in your business differently, to look at them as, again, how can you connect with their hearts and their minds and their creativity and the imagination so that you can do amazing new things, utilizing technology to enhance that. So, I hope that this Amuse-Bouche helped you. I hope that you think about how can you build a bridge? How can you empower through knowledge? And how can you carve a new path? I'm telling you, when you do it this way, when you look at people as people and you see their unique greatness from within, and you utilize the tools that we have that have been coming at us to enhance that greatness, we're all going to rise. We are all going to have the audacity to rise and make this world way better than we found it, way better than it is right now. So I hope you enjoyed this. Until next week, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.